practice on happiness. And then I got some comments about not everything can be happy in life, and sometimes people around us die. And I started thinking about that, and I never really had any sort of practice that I made on death. And that's because I feel like that's an experience that's up to us all to navigate and be responsible for. However, it's been many, many years of me making practices about all different aspects of life, having to do with traumas and our strengths and our goals, our targets, addressing some of our weaknesses, relationships, all these different aspects of life. And since death is something that we all get to experience this time around through this physical journey of being a human on earth, it's definitely a important aspect to build many different perspectives on. And this isn't going to be an answer, right? I'm not going to claim that I know everything about death. This is not going to be uh, anything like that. This is about how to make more sense of it in the body, right? Like death is usually thought of as an ending, but it's really about a break in continuity. So we are committed and attached to a certain thing, a relationship with somebody else, or maybe even a role or an identity that that relationship stimulates. Right? Like we might be a father to a child, or a child to a father, or a boyfriend, or a marriage partner, life partner, business associate, teammate, friend, workout partner. I had one of my earliest, like I think he was my first workout partner ever, died at a very young age. I think we were like 23. Comments. A friend's father in law passed this morning. Interesting synchronicity of your talk today. Yes, death effects of assault. That is a crazy synchronicity. So, what we're really going through is a break in what our nervous system was anticipating to continue. There was this imagined future that our nervous system was expecting, and the death occurs. Our body doesn't necessarily know that that happened, and our nervous system and our energetic body is attuned in a certain direction. If a death occurs, a break, there is going to be a stress that gets caused in the body because the body is expecting this continuation to happen, and when it doesn't continue, there's there's tension that builds up. And if we don't metabolize this death, this tension, and I will say the word death a lot because death is a healthy aspect of life. I feel like in school and movies, the way that I was raised in middle America, death seemingly is something that we are all trying to avoid. And it's this bad thing. I mean, even look at funeral, everyone's in dark clothing. Death is a healthy aspect of life. Without death, there wouldn't be any life existing, right? It would just be everything is just here, just like piled on top of each other. So death is the nourishment of life. Think about even our food, our what we sustain life. Like everything is eating itself on this planet, and death is part of that. Since my mother passed in 2023, I've been challenged to get past losing her, right? And that challenge lives in your body. And so if you think about somebody that you've lost without anything else, if you just think about them and you tune into the body, notice where your body stores that. For some, it might feel like tension or it might feel like something else. Wherever you feel that first, this is what I'm talking about. It's living in the body. So using the body to deal with, to sit at the table when we're dealing with the subject of death is relevant. Grief is a physical thing. We feel it in the body, right? We even feel like that depression. It's that pressure that that we're unable to. I'm gonna put everything on do not disturb here. That we're unable to express, to press up against, right? And so it's about the capacity to deal with a physiological load. And I designed a practice this week having to do with death. And it was a lot about being able to hold the pressure of ourself, hold the capacity of load. That's what we're really learning how to do again, to breathe under load, to bring back freedom. And then also addressing things like guilt about living when somebody close to us has graduated this existence. Addressing that, like asking yourself the question, if you feel guilty, is there something that you're holding back? It just feels like a void within me, no specific area I can identify. Thanks for that comment. A void within me. I feel like if I feel like there's, and I don't want to color your experience. I feel like that's a good explanation. I won't color your experience. So the mismatch, right? Like I said, the brain, the nervous system, it's predicting that this person is going to continue to be there. And then there's a mismatch, which causes tension, which then causes elevated cortisol. It's going to increase inflammation. Uh, Scientifically, there's even like proof that if somebody around us dies, that your risk of dying goes up, right? So someone close to us dies, your risk of dying goes up because things like cortisol, inflammation go up. Your immune system is suppressed. Your body is under stress. And it can feel, like you said, a void within me with no specific area that I can identify. It's essentially your body is trying to figure out the answer, and it's detaching, and it can't really identify with what's going on. And then what we do in society is say that we're doing fine. We're just doing fine, and then we hide it. And then that causes our body to have to deal with it alone and without answers, and causes fatigue, illness, emotional flatness. And if we don't ever metabolize this and deal with it, then we even like build an armor around us that crusts over and prevents us from once again being expressed. And we actually build an armor within that depressed self. And then that's where that just like flatness of life disappears to. And death, once again, is something that we all deal with. It's something that we can learn through. It's something that we can gather strength from. It's something that we can cultivate awareness of the love and compassion that we had with somebody else. Normalizing grief and sadness. The day he passed, I felt my heart beats in my back. I feel like it starts in my abdomen and I'm about to lose my ability to breathe. So people are connecting into their body. This is all the armor that I'm talking about. It's the breath that we're not really capable of breathing freely into. And so the abdomen sort of braces, or our spine freezes, or we don't have the fun that we used to have. This is our body in a state of survival. It's immobilizing itself because it feels vulnerable, feels like there's a threat. And the reason why this is important to address is because if this isn't metabolized, then this is prolonged, and then this becomes our identity. right? And we become the story. And we start our paragraphs, we start our days, we start our life colored with the filter of there's somebody who died and I wish they wouldn't have. Oh, my heart, you are so great. Thank you for this. Thank you guys for showing up today. And so, this is what I want you guys to do. You can stand up. I'm going to say sitting because I have my camera all set up. But you can even do this sitting. But this is just going to demonstrate something. So if you stand up and let's just tense all of our muscles. Squeeze your hands, squeeze all the muscles in your arms, squeeze your abdomen, squeeze your legs, squeeze, 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 and then now release. And keep on releasing. Notice how easy it was to squeeze, right? Just squeeze again, just squeeze. Like that's easy to tense. Now relax. Are you really relaxed? How are your hands? Can you relax them more? Can you relax them more? What about your shoulders? Are your shoulders relaxed? The back. Like think about all the muscles of the back. The legs, the feet, the hands, the fingers. Are those relaxed? Are those holding on? It takes way more effort to let go than it does to hold on. To hold on is instinctual. You know, like my baby, I think even before breastfeeding, this was like what she did. And that comes from an evolutionary standpoint, an ape or like having to grab onto the mother's hair so it doesn't fall out of the tree. Like once again, evolutionary standpoint, which isn't always the perspective I take. But the point is that holding on is instinctual and releasing requires our capacity to be able to do so. And so when something happens, like somebody around us dying, we're going to hold on. And that's going to be what happens instinctually. And until we let go, there's going to be a lot of us that is going to continue to hold on because that's automatic. And in the practice that I developed for our self expansion members, I'm going to give you guys the questions. We normally journal before we do a physical and energetic practice to move this through the body because that's the whole point of what I'm saying is developing the capacity to deal with the circumstances of life. That's what we're doing. We're knowing ourself and we're expanding this awareness of ourself first internally so that we know everything from skin in, and then as a way to know reality around us, which is also a reflection of self. It is also self if we have the capacity to be responsible for that is outside of our skin. So the first question I already asked, right? When you think about somebody who has passed, where does your body tighten first? And so this is just building an awareness, like an interest, like our ability to be interceptive is like our ability to feel our internal environment. And if it's just kind of like a depressed feeling, or as James said earlier, like a void, then there's some development still there that we can step into. And so it's almost like when the first time you started to drive a car, right? Like you're having to think about all of these things in coordination. Is this a good metaphor for me to explain? Not really. Better metaphor is like if you guys ever started working out, like you get on a leg press machine and you're just like pressing the leg press machine. But after years of working out, you can actually feel all the fibers and how it all, like your legs, your toes, you can start feeling it's not just you pressing the leg press machine up and down with like, if you guys are personal trainers out there, you know that like new clients have no idea, no body awareness. Like they're moving and they're saying, what muscle does this work? Right. It's kind of like There's no awareness of internal musculature and fascia and how it mechanically and hydraulically moves the body. It's the same thing with our emotions and our nervous system. It works the same way. It's a practice. Get to practice what, like, it hurts, but where does it hurt? The second question is, this is really the third question. I think I'm skipping the second question because it wasn't so powerful. The third question is, if I lived fully again, would there be a part of me that I feel like I'm betraying? If I lived fully again, would I feel like I'm betraying the other person or some part of me? There's something called survivor guilt. If you guys watch the movie Hot Shots 19 is what I think it's called. It's about firefighters and one I think it's on Netflix. But it's a team, a group of firefighters, and they all burned in a forest fire except for one of them. And so there's this is like an extreme case of survivor guilt because now he's like he doesn't want like he thinks he should have gone with the team, or somebody else was a better person to live. And that's an extreme case, but it's something that we could all feel as well. Like, why am I still here and they're not? And then we can even just like at a subtle manner, like not want to do something. And I think if we reach deep enough, like even myself, if I think about my workout buddy, what he like him and I were a good match because he was like very enthusiastic. And I feel like all my best friends are very enthusiastic, and even my partners are very my relationships, romantic relationships, my entire life. I pair well with people that talk a lot and are very happy and very outgoing because I'm very internal and I don't really talk a lot. It's a challenge for me to talk, really. This is why I do this, because I work on what I'm challenged at somehow. Somehow in my whole life it's been about public speaking and it's my number one fear. But anyways, like when someone around us goes and I find it, maybe I block myself from that role because that was a role that at a young age he filled in. And um yeah, we can unlodge those sense of betraying, right? And uh, realize that we're not being disloyal if we start to live again. And once again, this is like that tense, like to release your shoulders in that moment. Like it just takes like that switch. It just takes you just being like, okay, I can release this tension. I can go there. And of course, if someone earlier said that, I forget who, friend's father-in-law passed this morning. Yeah, like when it's super, super close, we don't necessarily need to do this. Like we can still hold on. If it happened like within hours, days, months, even when we're ready, we can go in and we can start unlodging some things. And another question is, what would it feel like to carry this loss with strength instead of protection? And so when it comes to death, another way to sort of unrestrict ourselves is just ask the question, what would it feel like to relate to this experience with a sense of, name your emotions, strength, gratitude, happiness. These are usually the opposite of what we would even consider. However, part of this process of learning about yourself is ask yourself the question, what would it be like if I did relate to this with a sense of gratitude that the death happened? It's just the question. It's just it's It's an experience, and we can learn from that. I like the word unlodge. Sometimes it is like, yes, I still feel guilty for not doing more as I was her caregiver. Thanks for sharing. Survivor guilt had me in a grip for 15 years, and it's something else. Thanks for sharing that as well. A lot of the times, a lot of people doing these practices or even listening right now might not have went through this. And so sharing your experience allows people to step into the process without being so lost. And you know, I heard here like as I've gotten older, I'm 43 now. As I've gotten older, death is more frequent. And I feel like it's going to continue on that way as I get older and older because everyone around me will get older and older, and the percentage and likelihood of somebody dying will go up. And death can condition us. It can condition us to deal with this aspect of life and even condition us to deal with our own mortality. Because even if we somehow get through all of life without having to deal with anybody else around us dying, we still will get to the point where we're going to cross that threshold. And contemplating another's passing conditions us for when it's our time to go. And we don't need to find an answer. We don't really need to find any sense of certainty. I don't think that that exists here. I think that religions and philosophies all attempt to promise certainty because this is going to be a question in everybody's mind. And so it's a good marketing tool to promise certainty of death and afterlife. Um, and then that causes attachment because what happens when you get to that point and what you were assuming to happen is a little bit different. I feel like having an open mind, having multiple perspectives, contemplation, unanswered wonderings is going to actually increase your meaning, your compassion, your resilience, your flexibility, your adaptability, your versatility in that moment for yourself so that the experience can be observed by you as opposed to the same sort of clenching that you might be feeling having to do with somebody else's death. We can resolve this with other people dying around you. You can go into the experience without this clenched, depressed, tight, tense fear. And you can go into this experience fully. My 20-year-old son was killed when he hit a deer on his motorcycle in October 2025. That's pretty soon. That was just a couple months ago. As his mother, I feel like I didn't love him enough. If I have a moment of peace, I think my psyche wants to heal. So this is similar to what the other person was saying about not doing more as the caregiver. And obviously, this isn't a well rounded response because I'm just seeing this as comments. But initially, what I wanted to say to him and what I want to say to you, and I guess I'll say it, is that these feelings of not doing enough, I didn't love him enough, or I didn't care enough, these evoke present moment feelings that if we tie them to the past, they're never going to be resolved. So this feeling is happening now. And if we then tie it to the past of this person who is not here now, there's going to be more tension. There's going to, and you, I'm sure, feel it. And so the resolution to that is to love more fully now, to care more fully now in the day to day mundane life. It's like you're still here with this void to express what the death has gifted you, the blessing and the ability to express it now. And this is also what I mean by conditioning. This is conditioning you and developing you as a person. And when we are like, when we have these experiences, we're like, man, I feel like I could have done more. If we're just like thinking about, oh, I feel like I could have done more in that past scenario, death or not, it kind of defeats the purpose. The purpose of it, all of it happening is so that you do more. Like you rise up and you get to do that with your life now. We are aging over time, like dying with each passing moment. Yeah, every moment, every exhale. I feel uncomfortable and like leaving, but I will stay and be present and connected. Thank you for saying that. I hear what you're saying. And there's a however, this life is not about transcendence. I agree with your orientation towards love in the moment. The way that Jesus taught was to live through the heart. I'm not sure where the however comes from. This life is not about transcendence. I'm definitely not suggesting that. I'm talking about the present moment, talking about being here now, dealing with the death. I'm not talking about ignoring death. I'm not talking about transcending it. I'm talking about gathering the value of life, death being a completely, perfectly harmonious aspect of life. Can we stay open to the life that we're living now while acknowledging death? Can we carry the load? Can we carry the weight of it without collapsing and continuing to thrive and add to this reality? Be present so you can always be gifted fully by the moment. Also, allow the refinement of the soul. So, thank you guys for exploring this with me. Death is going to visit us all. And if you'd like to l- learn more and practice more, I'm just reading these comments over here. Ra, you were one of the first of the good people I found on here on the interweb. You are golden. Thank you. That's coming from TikTok, actually. This is my first time going live on TikTok. Oh my gosh, this man is, we are blessed to be here with him, a rare moment. Um, just to close out here, go back to that question about is there something that you're holding back because there might be a sense of betrayment? Like maybe this aspect of you was reserved only for this person that passed, and you missed your opportunity, would be an example of that. And uh, yeah, just sit with that question, unlodge it, and maybe there's another perspective that you can exist with this activity now in the present moment. How can you better express that as yourself? And um, thank you guys for being here. I know this is a deep topic, and so I'm gonna leave it at that. And like an unfinished sort of thing, just another perspective to look at it. And enjoy the rest of your day. And let's try and honor life as much as possible because it's something that we're gifted, and we're dealing with linear time here. And so as we are this person that we are right now, like this physical body, we're here for this moment, and we don't know how long else. And so I just invite us all to live fully and as the greatest aspect of ourself that we can. So take care, and I'll see you next time.